Mom, Dad, I need to talk to you about something important, I said, my voice shaking slightly, though I tried to sound confident. Not now, my dad said without looking up from his phone. I'm busy with work calls. I clenched my fists. It won't take long. I want to start my own business. I've been saving, I have a plan, I just need some support. My mom laughed, sharp and dismissive. Support? From us? Why would we support you in a dream that won't make a dime? You're always thinking small, always failing before you even start. I felt my stomach drop. I've worked hard? Worked hard? My cousin Liam stepped in, smirking. You? Please, you can barely manage your school projects and now you want to run a business. I'm serious, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I've done research, I've saved some money, I have ideas that can work. I just need a push, maybe a loan or some advice. Advice? Mom interrupted, rolling her eyes. What advice? You need reality, not fantasies. You're hopeless, just like you've always been. I froze. Reality? Hopeless? These were the people who promised to guide me, to protect me, to love me. And now, laughter. Mockery. Maybe it's time you finally learn your place, Dad said coldly. We've done enough for you. Pack your things. You're out of this house. The words hit me like a punch. What? What? You can't be serious. I am, Liam said, grinning. Good luck out there, loser. Don't come. Crying back when life slaps you in the face. I felt my hands trembling. I just wanted a chance. A chance? Mom's voice dripped with contempt. You've had chances your whole life. You've wasted them all. Now leave. I grabbed my backpack, my fingers shaking as I shoved my few belongings inside. I turned to look at them one last time, hoping for some sign of hesitation, some flicker of care. But there was nothing. Cold faces, smirks, satisfaction in their cruelty. I stumbled down the driveway, trying not to look back, but Liam's laughter echoed in my head. Good luck out there, loser. Tears burned my eyes. I hated myself for trusting them. I hated them for being so cruel. I hated that I'd believed family meant safety, that their love was real. I wandered the streets aimlessly, each step heavier than the last. I felt exposed, small, angry. My pride, my trust, my dreams, all shattered. Hey, man, you okay? A voice called from the corner of the street. I looked up to see Marco, my old friend from school, leaning against a lamppost, cigarette in hand. He squinted at me. You look like someone just kicked the wind out of you. I forced a bitter laugh. You could say that? Family drama? He asked, flicking ash from his cigarette. You have no idea, I muttered. They threw me out, said I'm useless, a failure. Liam, my cousin, he laughed as I left. I don't even know what to do. Marco shook his head slowly. Yeah, I've seen it before. Families. They disappoint, they hurt. And usually it's the people you trust the most. It hurts so much, I whispered, my voice cracking. I thought they cared. I thought I mattered to them. Marco shrugged. Newsflash, buddy. Sometimes you matter until you don't, until you're inconvenient. It sucks, but you can't build your life relying on people who'll stab you. In the back. I stared at him, numb. So, what am I supposed to do? Rely on yourself, he said bluntly. Stop expecting love. Stop expecting help. Start thinking, how do I survive? How do I win? How do I rise? Not, will they care about me? I let his words sink in. They stung, but they were honest. For the first time, someone saw the situation clearly without sugarcoating it. Rise. Survive, I whispered, tasting the words, letting them solidify inside me. Maybe he was right. Maybe I had wasted too much time believing in people who didn't deserve my trust. Marco clapped me on the shoulder. Look, you're smarter than you think. Use your head. Don't let them see you break. If you want revenge, do it quietly, do it smart. Let them regret it while you build yourself up. I swallowed hard, anger mixing with a spark of determination. Yeah, I can do that. I have to. You'll be fine, Marco said with a smirk. Just remember, no one's going to hand you anything. Not ever. I nodded, feeling the weight of reality settle over me. Pain, humiliation, betrayal, it was all mine to carry. But now it wasn't just about surviving. It was about proving them wrong, showing them that I could rise, even if it meant leaving them behind. As I walked away, Liam's laughter still echoed. But this time, I let it fuel me instead of break me. Chapter 2, woke up on a cold park bench, the metal biting into my back, and wondered how I had ended up here. My stomach growled, empty, aching. I glanced at the trash-strewn street, hoping someone would offer food or maybe spare change. No one noticed. Everyone passed by like I was invisible. Man, how did it come to this? I muttered, rubbing my face. A woman walked past with a bag of sandwiches, ignoring me completely. I felt anger bubbling inside me. Yeah, thanks a lot, I whispered under my breath. I spent the morning wandering, my backpack clinking with a few meager items. I thought about my parents, my cousin, the house I'd been thrown out of, their faces, smirking, laughing. Every step I took, the humiliation burned more. Then I found a quiet corner outside a closed cafe and sat down. I pulled out my old phone, cracked screen and all. I had no money, no plan, nothing. And yet, boredom mingled with curiosity. What the hell? Might as well, I said, scrolling through apps I hadn't used in months. My thumb hovered over the bank app I had ignored for years, Grandpa's old account, which I'd never dared to check. I opened it. The numbers on the screen made me laugh, nervously at first. No. That can't be right, I whispered, blinking. Fund $200,000, $1,200 million. My heart stopped. I stared at the screen again, then again. My fingers trembled. I can't. This is impossible. It was real. Grandpa had trusted me. All this time, while my family mocked me, called me useless, Grandpa had left me something unimaginable. I sank back on the bench, breath coming fast. He believed in me when no one else did. My throat tightened. I can actually do this. I can rise. I didn't finish the thought. My mind raced with possibilities, plans, and, admit it, revenge. Liam's smirk flashed in my memory. Mom's cold laughter. Dad's dismissive shrug. Every insult. Every humiliation. Every single moment they tried to crush me. I could rewrite that now. I laughed quietly, a mix of disbelief and excitement. I could buy every stupid thing they care about, ruin them without them even knowing it's me. A voice behind me startled me. Excuse me, sir, can I help you with something? I turned to see a woman in a crisp blazer, hair tied back, holding a tablet. She had that calm, professional aura people have when they are used to handling numbers that make regular people dizzy. Yes, I stammered. My brain was spinning. I just checked something. It's overwhelming, she smiled politely. You're new to this, aren't you? Large sums, unexpected wealth. It can be shocking. I'm Ms. Patel. I work with accounts like this. It's not just about having money, it's about responsibility. Responsibility? I repeated, still staring at the numbers on my phone. I've been homeless, I've been thrown out by my family, and now I have all this? She nodded. Exactly. Money doesn't solve every problem. It amplifies your choices. The people around you, the opportunities, the mistakes, they all become more visible. I laughed bitterly. Visible, huh? Yeah, I suppose that's true. Visible for revenge too, right? Ms. Patel's eyes didn't judge, but her tone was firm. Revenge is temporary. It might feel good for a moment, but it rarely brings peace. What brings peace is purpose, planning, using what you have to build a life worth having, not just A life worth showing off. I frowned, thinking. I get that. But... My voice cracked. I want them to know they were wrong. I want them to feel... something. And you will, she said softly. Just make sure what you do builds you up, not destroys you. Money like this, it changes everything, but only if you let it. And only if you know what you want beyond the anger. I nodded slowly. I think I understand. I think I do. My hands clenched around my phone. Grandpa trusted me. He believed in me when no one else would. I won't waste that. Good, Ms. Patel said. Start with small, smart steps. And remember, your life doesn't start with money. It starts with you. I sat back on the bench, staring at the skyline beyond the park. Hunger gnawed at me, cold wrapped around me, but none of it mattered. $1.2 billion. And for the first time in months, I felt hope. Not just hope. Fire. The fire of someone who had been beaten, humiliated, and thrown aside. Now armed with the means to rise, I whispered to myself, barely audible over the city noise. They're going to regret underestimating me, every last one of them. The thought of revenge didn't feel petty, it felt deserved. But beneath that, a sharper, smarter determination formed. I wouldn't just take revenge, I'd build, I'd grow, I'd rise. And when I did, they'd see exactly what they lost. For the first time in my life, I smiled genuinely. And it wasn't the shaky, forced kind from before. It was steady, strong, and full of possibilities. Chapter 3. I sat in my small rented apartment, staring at the laptop screen. Every number, every chart, every investment I clicked on made my heart race. Grandpa's money, it was more than I ever imagined, and now it was mine to use. Carefully, strategically. Remember, slow and steady, Marco said from the phone, voice tense. Don't go crazy with the spending. Build quietly, don't announce anything. I know, I said, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. But it feels amazing. I can actually make something of myself. Not just survive, Marco, I can dominate. Dominate? He chuckled. Careful, man. That sounds like revenge waiting to explode. Focus on growth first. Don't let anger blind you. I leaned back in my chair. I can do both. I can grow, and I can make them regret underestimating. Me, slowly, quietly, Marco sighed. Just promise me you won't lose yourself. Money has a way of changing people. I won't, I said, but the spark of satisfaction made my chest tighten. I couldn't deny it. I loved watching my plans take shape. By the next morning, I had made my first moves. Small investments in tech startups, some real estate in neighborhoods they would have mocked me for. Anonymous, discreet, but already paying off. I checked the news obsessively, watching stock prices climb, small articles praising new startups. My grin widened. You're obsessed, Marco teased during our midday call. Obsessed? I snapped, but lightly laughing. I've been ignored my whole life. Now I see things moving my way. Every stock, every property, every success, it's mine. I earned it, even if they don't know it yet. Careful, he warned. This isn't just money anymore. It's power, and power can corrupt faster than you realize. I shook my head. Not me. I'm smarter than that. I'm patient. That's why they'll never see it coming. I spent the next week observing them from a distance. Liam, my cousin, looked more stressed than ever. He complained endlessly to friends about a failed investment. I couldn't help but smirk as I walked past the cafe where he met clients. What's the problem now? I muttered under my breath. Debt? Poor management? Karma's being polite. Mom's face showed worry I hadn't seen before. Her expensive shopping sprees had slowed. Dad avoided eye contact with business associates when I passed by. The sight was subtle but satisfying. I could almost taste the justice. Slow revenge, I whispered, taking notes on everything I saw. Small, strategic, perfect, Marco called that evening. "So, how's the little game going?" he asked. "Perfect," I said, smiling at my reflection in the dark window. "Liam's panicking over his debts. Mom and Dad are trying to salvage appearances, and me, I'm just watching, quietly building, quietly winning." "You sound satisfied," Marco said. "Not angry anymore?" "Anger is fuel," I replied. "But seeing results, that's a different feeling. It's justified. And it's smarter than yelling and showing off. This is patience, strategy. The best revenge doesn't need to be loud." I checked Grandpa's account again. Every transaction, every portfolio update reminded me that he had trusted me. That trust gave me strength, but also guilt. I used his money for revenge without anyone knowing, but it felt necessary. "You okay?" Marco asked. "Yeah," I said, voice soft. Sometimes I feel guilty. This money isn't mine, to spend for personal grudge, but..." I trailed off. "But what?" he prompted. "But it's also the only way to fix my life. And maybe theirs too, if they learn humility," I said. Marco was quiet for a moment. "I get it. Just don't let this turn into obsession. Don't let the thrill of seeing them stumble replace your life." "I won't," I said, but the glimmer in my eyes betrayed me. The thrill was intoxicating. Days later, I received an anonymous email from a financial advisor I had hired using Grandpa's funds. A report on Liam's failing startup, his unpaid creditors, his mounting stress. I smiled, leaning back. "Everything's falling into place," I whispered. Quietly, perfectly, Marco laughed over the phone. "You're really enjoying this, huh?" "I am," I admitted. I never thought I'd see the day where they had no idea I was in control. And soon, I'll be untouchable. And they'll know it too, without me even showing my face. "Just promise me one thing," Marco said seriously. "Don't lose who you are while doing this. Don't let the revenge become you." "I promise," I said, though the fire inside me roared. I had never felt this alive. Angry, yes. Determined, yes. But also capable. Finally capable. I looked out the window at the city lights, feeling power surge quietly through me. Each step, each investment, each small victory, it was mine. The quiet satisfaction of karma, the slow unraveling of those who mocked me. It was sweeter than I imagined, I whispered to myself, a vow I could feel in my bones. I will rise, they'll see. Every last one of them. Chapter 4. I walked past the luxury real estate office, pretending to be a client interested in a penthouse. Inside, my parents sat nervously at a meeting, trying to negotiate a property I'd already purchased weeks ago. Their faces fell when the agent mentioned the offer had been finalized. "Wait, who bought it?" Dad asked, voice tight. "I'm sorry, sir," the agent said politely. "It was a private investor. The deal was closed last week. No negotiations possible." I smiled, quietly behind my sunglasses. Perfect. Later, I cornered Marco by phone. "They're panicking over the property. Dad looks like he's about to burst a vein." "Careful," Marco said. "Enjoying this too much?" "I'm not enjoying it," I lied, though the thrill rushed through me. "I'm observing, watching, their confidence crumble. It's informative." "You're a vengeful genius," he said with a chuckle. "Just don't lose perspective. Don't let pride blind you." I nodded, pacing. "Perspective. Right. I'm thinking strategically, slowly, quietly. That's the difference between revenge and foolishness." The next day, I invested in a startup my cousin Liam had been negotiating for months. I didn't advertise, didn't contact him directly. The deal went through, and the news spread quietly. He was furious, but had no clue who beat him to it. "Liam's going to hate me," I whispered, biting my lip. Satisfaction mixed with guilt. But he deserved it. He mocked me, humiliated me. He should feel powerless for once. You okay? Marco asked. You sound conflicted. I am, I admitted. I feel guilty, but justified, and the satisfaction is intoxicating. Careful, Marco warned. This is where things start to spiral. Don't let the thrill of it replace the purpose of it. I exhaled. I won't. I just like seeing them struggle without realizing I'm the cause. A week later, I attended a business gala disguised, my face known only to the staff. Dad and Mom were there, desperately trying to secure investors for a failing venture. I approached, casually, striking up conversation. Hello, I hear you're looking for funding, I said, extending a hand. Dad's eyes widened. Yes we are. Do we know you? I smiled politely. I'm an investor who appreciates solid ideas. I might consider a partnership, but only under certain conditions. Mom leaned in. Conditions? Her tone was hopeful but cautious. Of course, transparency, accountability, and a solid repayment plan. No exceptions, I said, coldly. Professional. And full disclosure of all financial records. Anything less, I'm afraid I cannot help. Dad looked stricken. We can't meet all that right now. Then I'm afraid this offer isn't for you, I said calmly. I could see the panic in their eyes, the realization they were no longer in control. I turned away, letting the words linger like ice. After leaving the gala, I called Marco. They looked like they were going to have a heart attack, perfectly executed. You really are enjoying this, he said with a laugh. I'm learning. I corrected him. It's not about enjoying it. It's about understanding power. I can manipulate situations without revealing myself. That's intelligence. That's strategy. That's control. And morality? Marco asked cautiously. Ever wonder if you're crossing a line? I paused, staring out my apartment window at the city below. Sometimes, I do wonder if I'm too far gone. But then I remember, they treated me like nothing, laughed at my dreams, threw me out. They made their choice. Just don't let it consume you, Marco said firmly. There's a difference between justice and obsession. I know, I whispered. I feel it. Every step I take, I check myself. Every move is calculated. I can't let anger blind me, but satisfaction? That's inevitable. I turned my attention back to Liam. News of my investments had reached him, and he was struggling to figure out who had sabotaged him. His calls to brokers went unanswered, deals fell through, and he didn't understand why. I could almost hear him gritting his teeth from here. Liam's panicking, I said to Marco. Every step he takes is a mistake now, and I'm not even involved directly. That's the beauty of it. Marco laughed softly. You're enjoying watching him fail. Admit it. Maybe a little, I said, though my tone was serious. It's more than just pleasure. It's karma. Quiet, strategic, effective. You need to be careful, Marco reminded me. One wrong move, and someone could trace this back. You've got to stay in the shadows. I know, I said, and I will. That's why I'm patient. I don't rush. I observe. I manipulate carefully. I win without revealing myself. That's the lesson. Days later, I received a report showing my parents' failed negotiations and Liam's lost opportunities. I sat back, fingers steepled, savoring the subtle shift. Their arrogance, their confidence, their false sense of security, it all faltered. Slowly, strategically, my influence spread without them knowing. I whispered to myself a quiet vow. Every move counts. Every step is calculated. They'll see it eventually, and when they do, it will be too late. The thrill was undeniable, but I reminded myself, this wasn't about cruelty. It was about justice. And more than that, it was about proving to myself that I could rise, quietly, smartly, and powerfully. Chapter 5I was reviewing the latest investment reports when my phone buzzed. Marco's name flashed on the screen. What's up? I answered, already sensing tension in his voice. You need to hear this, he said quickly. Aunt Clara's friend, Mrs. Hargrove. She's asking questions about the recent deals you've made. I froze. Mrs. Hargrove. Nosy, overbearing, obsessed with family gossip. If she connected even a fraction of the dots, she could expose me. What kind of questions? I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. She's suspicious, asking about investors, sudden property purchases, money moving into startups. She's been talking to Liam too. He doesn't know you're involved, but she's getting closer. B. Careful. I ran a hand through my hair. Damn it. I've been too sloppy with timing. I need to slow down, cover tracks, stay invisible. Exactly, Marco said. Remember, power isn't just money. It's patience, control, and timing. Don't let curiosity ruin everything you've built. I nodded, though he couldn't see me. Patience, control, timing. Got it. Later, that evening, I spotted Mrs. Hargrove at a charity event my parents attended. She was scanning the room, sharp eyes searching for something, or someone. I ducked behind a column, observing quietly. She's serious, I muttered under my breath. She's connecting the dots herself. Clever. Too clever. I considered approaching my parents, offering guidance indirectly, but paused. The risk was too high. Every word, every gesture could expose me. I whispered into my phone. Marco, I need a plan. She's at the gala. Eyes everywhere. Keep it subtle, he advised. Blend in, distract, and mislead. Don't confront her. If she gets the wrong impression, she'll back off. I took a deep breath and forced myself to smile as I entered the event under a different identity. A subtle disguise, enough to avoid recognition. I moved among the guests, small talk, polite nods, keeping my distance from Mrs. Hargrove. She can't see me here, I said quietly. Not directly, at least. I have to make her doubt her suspicions. I lingered near the bar, feigning interest, in an investment brochure. Mrs. Hargrove passed by, glancing at me suspiciously, but I offered only a polite nod, turning my attention to the brochure as if engrossed. Nice trick, I whispered. She almost noticed, but doubt will slow her down. Later, I spotted Liam arguing with an associate over a failed deal. Mrs. Hargrove observed from a corner, intrigued. I saw an opportunity. I whispered to Marco, she's focused on Liam. Perfect. Let her chase shadows. Good, he said. Use her curiosity against her. Misdirection is powerful. I excused myself from the event, pretending to take a phone call outside. I sent a quick anonymous tip to one of Liam's brokers, a minor distraction about an alternate investment. Within minutes, Liam rushed off panicking, while Mrs. Hargrove followed, eyes wide, trying to gather information. She's being played, I murmured, smirking. Patience and timing. That's real power, not money. Walking back to my apartment, I reflected on the evening. The thrill of almost being discovered was sobering. It reminded me that intelligence and strategy could protect me far better than wealth alone. Marco called again. You're handling this well, he said. But remember, human weakness is predictable. She's nosy, emotional. She'll make mistakes if you stay calm. I leaned against the railing, looking out at the city lights. I see it now. Anger isn't enough. Revenge isn't enough. It's about understanding people, exploiting their weaknesses, and controlling timing. That's how you survive, how you win. Exactly, Marco said. And remember, don't let these close calls make you reckless. Stay patient, stay invisible. I will, I whispered. I have to. Every step matters now. Every move could reveal me, and I can't afford mistakes. I thought of my parents, their arrogance, their constant dismissal of me. They had no idea who was really orchestrating their misfortunes. Liam, too, struggling and panicking. Each subtle shift in their lives felt like karmic satisfaction, but I reminded myself, satisfaction wasn't the goal. Control was. Power was. Patience was. I can do this, I said to myself, not just for revenge, but to prove that I can rise above, that I can survive, that I can outthink everyone who ever doubted me. Later, as I checked the security footage of the event through a trusted source, I smiled. Mrs. Hargrove lingered, near Liam, confused, uncertain. My presence had gone unnoticed, my identity safe. "You're learning," Marco said on the call, "and so far you're handling it perfectly." I nodded, feeling a mix of relief and exhilaration. "Perfectly, yes, but close, too close. I can't forget that. One slip and everything could collapse. I have to be smarter than ever." That night, I lay awake, thinking about trust, betrayal, and human weakness. I realized that my anger had shifted. It wasn't blind rage anymore. It was understanding, observation, patience. Every flaw, every arrogance of those who underestimated me became tools. Tools to survive, to rise, to control. "And I will," I whispered into the darkness. "I will rise, and I'll do it on my terms. No one will see me coming until it's too late." Chapter 6, I stepped into the grand hall, my shoes clicking softly against the polished floor. The chandelier above cast warm light on familiar faces, my parents, my cousin Liam, a few distant relatives. They didn't know I was coming, and I intended to keep it that way until the right moment. "Who invited him?" Mom whispered, glancing nervously toward the doorway. "Relax," Dad said, squinting. "Probably someone from work," I smirked, walking calmly forward. "Hello, everyone." My voice was steady, polite, casual. All heads turned. Recognition flickered, confusion in their eyes. "Wait, is that?" Mom stammered. "Yes," I said softly, savoring the pause. "It's me." Liam froze mid-laugh, his drink halfway to his lips. "You? But how?" I smiled, reaching into my coat to pull out my phone. "Want to see what I've been up to while you were busy mocking me?" Dad frowned, uncertain. "This isn't funny." "What are you talking about?" I tapped a few buttons. On the screen flashed reports, investment portfolios, property deeds, and business contracts. Every number told the story of my rise, the deals I'd quietly completed, the startups I'd backed, the properties I'd acquired. "I see. That's impossible," Mom whispered, eyes wide. "It's real," I said. "Every last investment, every business you failed to secure, every opportunity you ignored. I took it, discreetly, strategically. And now it's mine." Liam's jaw dropped. "But you can't. That money, where did you get it?" I looked him in the eye. "Grandpa trusted me. He left me what you all thought I'd never have. I was homeless, broke, laughed at, but he believed in me. Unlike all of you." Mom's face twisted, a mix of anger and shame. We didn't know. We didn't think." "You didn't think," I interrupted, voice calm but firm. "You mocked me, humiliated me, and threw me out, and now here I am." Dad's voice shook. We were wrong. We didn't realize." "You didn't realize anything," I said quietly. "Not about me, not about loyalty, not about respect. That's your failure, not mine." I tapped my phone again, showing them Liam's failed business attempts and his lost investments. "And look at him. Your precious cousin struggling with deals he couldn't secure because I moved faster, smarter. Subtlety wins where arrogance fails," Liam stammered. I didn't know how. "I'll tell you how," I said. "I learned patience, strategy, and control. Money is power, yes, but power is nothing without timing and intelligence. You never saw me coming because you underestimated me. That was your mistake." Mom's hands trembled. We never wanted this. We didn't understand you." "Understand me?" I repeated, voice low, controlled. "You didn't want to understand me. You wanted to dismiss me, and now you see the consequences." Dad's face paled. We can fix this. We can..." "No," I said softly. "This isn't about fixing anything. The past can't be erased. You've done your part in breaking trust. I can't and won't forgive so easily. I'm not here for reconciliation. I'm here for clarity, for justice. Marco, standing discreetly at the edge of the room, gave me a small nod, pride mixed with caution in his eyes. He'd seen my transformation from desperate, homeless me to this calculated, confident version. You've changed, Liam said finally, voice barely audible. Completely. Yes, I said calmly. I've changed, and you'll notice the difference in everything you touch from now on. Every deal, every property, every opportunity. You'll realize you underestimated me. And by then, it will be too late. Mom's voice broke. We never thought... I know, I interrupted, softer this time. And that's the tragedy. Family should protect, support, trust. Instead, you laughed at me. That pain doesn't disappear just because I'm wealthy. It stays, quietly reminding me of what loyalty is and what betrayal feels like. I looked around the room, at their shocked faces, at Liam struggling to form words, at Mom and Dad realizing how small their world had been. I felt a surge of triumph, but it was tempered. Wealth, revenge, strategy, they didn't erase the hurt, the loneliness, the betrayal. You'll never understand, I said quietly, almost to myself. The emptiness, the humiliation, the lessons learned in silence. Dad's eyes welled with tears. We see it now. We're sorry. I don't need apologies, I said. I needed clarity, and I have it. Marco's hand briefly touched my shoulder. You did it, he said softly. You've shown them everything. But remember, pride is fragile. Don't let this moment blind you. I nodded, appreciating his caution. I won't. I've learned more than they ever will, about power, about patience, about human weakness, and that is worth more than money. I turned to leave, letting my presence linger. Every step echoed with quiet confidence. Their faces drained of color, a mix of jealousy, regret, and shock. I had won, yes, but at a cost. The family I had hoped for never existed. What remained was truth, justice, and a lesson they'd never forget. As I walked away, Marco whispered, "You're ready for the next step." I know, I said, my voice firm, and this time, I control everything. CHP7I sat in my office, glass of whiskey in hand, watching the city lights flicker below. News alerts pinged across my screen. Liam had lost another investor, a high-profile partner backing out after rumors of mismanagement spread. Finally catching up to him, I whispered, a faint smile tugging at my lips. Marco's voice came, through my earpiece. You're enjoying this a little too much, aren't you? I'm not enjoying it, I replied, though my tone carried satisfaction. I'm observing. Every action has consequences, and right now he's paying the price for arrogance. He's panicking, I assume? You have no idea, I said, leaning back. Calls unanswered, partners furious, deals collapsing. He doesn't even know why. It's subtle, perfect, silent karma. Marco chuckled. Subtlety suits you, but don't forget the others. Your parents? I sipped my whiskey, eyes narrowing as I thought of them. Mom and Dad had been cornered at every social event, invitations rescinded, whispers spreading about, their failed ventures and reliance on borrowed credibility. Their pride had been replaced by desperation. They're humbled, I said quietly. It's strange. I expected anger, but there's just shame. They look smaller now, not physically, but in every way that mattered. Do you feel satisfied? Marco asked carefully. I hesitated, staring out the window. I used to think I would. Watching them suffer, finally having power over those who dismissed me. I thought it would feel complete, but it doesn't. Satisfaction is fleeting. Observation, understanding, strategy. That feels enduring. That feels like me. Later, I saw Liam in the cafe, hunched over his phone, muttering angrily. Friends had turned away, investors hesitated, and whispers about his failures had spread like wildfire. I resisted the urge to confront him. Silence was my weapon now. Letting him stumble, letting him understand nothing, yet feel everything. That was perfect. "Marco, he's losing everything," I said into the phone quietly. "And he doesn't even see it coming. It's instructive." "Don't let this change you," Marco warned. "The thrill fades. You need purpose beyond revenge." I nodded. "I know. I'm thinking long term. Wealth isn't just power or satisfaction. It's responsibility, investments, charities, future plans. I can do more than just prove myself." A week later, my parents called, hesitant, almost pleading. "Can we meet?" Mom's voice shook. We want to understand. We were wrong, and..." I listened quietly, letting the words hang. Dad chimed in, voice strained. "We want a chance to make amends, to learn, to reconcile." "Reconcile?" I echoed, my tone calm. "You want to reconcile after everything? After years of dismissal, ridicule, and betrayal?" "Yes," Mom whispered. We see it now. We understand. We were blind." I leaned back, thinking. Their humility was new, but my anger had dulled. I wasn't consumed anymore. Observation, strategy, and experience had replaced rage. "Maybe," I said finally. "Maybe. But understand this. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight. Respect isn't demanded. It's earned. You've seen the consequences of underestimating me. Don't repeat it." They fell silent, and I knew the lesson had sunk in, at least partially. That evening, I checked the latest updates on Liam. Another investor had pulled out, friends distancing themselves, and old business partners refusing to associate. Karma, silent and precise, had done its work. Seeing him fail, "It's still satisfying," I admitted to Marco. "But the thrill isn't enough. What matters now is direction, purpose, control." "Exactly," Marco said softly. "You've learned more than revenge. You've learned strategy, patience, and understanding human weakness. Don't forget that." I nodded, setting the glass down. "I won't. I'm thinking bigger now. Investments that matter, charity programs, projects that create impact. Revenge taught me patience, but responsibility. Responsibility is the real game." My phone pinged with another message, a thank you from a small tech startup I'd quietly funded. They'd secured a breakthrough, and my investment was the difference between survival and failure. I smiled. Real change, real growth. That felt better than watching Liam or my parents stumble. "Marco," I said, voice soft but confident, "I think I'm ready. Not just to observe, not just to manage wealth, but to direct it, to create something. Lasting, meaningful, to rise beyond anger and revenge." "Good," he said, "because that's when you're truly unstoppable, not just in wealth, but in wisdom." I looked out at the city again, lights shimmering like countless opportunities. Chapter 8. Stepped onto the balcony of my new penthouse, the city light stretching endlessly beneath me. The wind was cool, brushing against my face, carrying the distant hum of traffic and life. I leaned on the railing, feeling a sense of calm I hadn't known in years. "Looks peaceful," Marco said, standing behind me, sipping his coffee. "It is," I admitted quietly. I expected satisfaction to feel louder, explosive, but it's quiet, subtle, calm. That's what I didn't realize before. "You mean after everything?" Marco asked. "Yes," I said, gazing at the twinkling streets below. "Revenge is done. Liam's failures are quiet but complete. My parents, humbled, their arrogance stripped away. And yet, the emptiness I expected isn't here. Just reflection, control, freedom." "You've changed," Marco said softly. "Not just rich, not just successful. You evolved." I chuckled lightly, shaking my head. Maybe. Or maybe I finally saw what mattered. Money is power, yes, but control, patience, and understanding, those last forever. Anger fades. Revenge is fleeting. But knowing who you are, that's enduring. Do you ever think about them? Your family? He asked carefully. Sometimes, I admitted. I don't hate them. Not anymore. I pity them. I mourn what could have been. But there's no going back, no repair for what they chose, and I don't need to beg for their acceptance anymore. I have myself. I pulled out a notebook from my jacket. I wrote slowly, carefully, my thoughts flowing onto the page. Grandpa, thank you for trusting me when no one else did. For giving me the tools to survive, to rise, to understand power beyond anger. I hope you see I used it wisely. I won't waste the faith you had in me. Marco glanced over my shoulder. Writing him a letter? Yes, I said quietly. He always believed I could do more than survive. I want him to know I didn't just survive. I became something stronger, smarter, patient. A breeze carried my hair across my face, and I smiled faintly. Do you know what's strange? I asked. What? The people who tried to destroy me? They're irrelevant now. My parents, Liam, I have no need for their validation, their failures, their regrets. I watch, but it doesn't control me anymore. That's real power. Marco nodded. It's a good place to be, observing without being consumed. Yes, I said, I used to think wealth would fix the pain, the humiliation, but it only amplifies awareness. The real transformation is internal. Anger doesn't drive me. Strategy, patience, reflection, those do. Doesn't mean you won't still enjoy your victories, Marco teased. I laughed softly, the sound light in the cool night air. Maybe a little, I admitted. Seeing them stumble silently, satisfying. But it's tempered. No gloating, no cruelty, just natural consequence. Any plans for the future? Marco asked. I looked out at the city, lights glimmering like stars scattered across the earth. Yes. Investments, yes. Startups that need guidance. Charities. Long-term projects that matter. I can't just prove myself through revenge anymore. I want to build, create, leave something lasting. Wealth is power, but purpose is enduring. Sounds like growth, Marco said, smiling. Not just wealth, but wisdom. Exactly, I said. I've realized the journey wasn't just about showing them or proving I could rise. It was about discovering what I could do with that rise. Responsibility, control, patience, understanding. I closed the notebook and tucked it into my jacket. The city stretched before me, alive with endless possibilities. For the first time in years, I felt completely in control, not just of my wealth, my plans, my revenge, but of myself. Are you happy? Marco asked. I paused, thinking carefully. Yes. Not the childish happiness of vindication or anger, but deep, calm satisfaction, peace. I've faced betrayal, learned patience, gained power, and survived. That's enough. That's more than enough. I'd say that's impressive, Marco said softly. You've earned it, every bit. I smiled faintly, raising my glass toward the city. To survival, growth, and the lessons they never taught, me. To understanding power beyond anger and choosing what to do with it wisely. Marco raised his coffee in return. To you. I took a deep breath, feeling the wind brush against me again. The city below sparkled, unaware of the quiet justice served, the careful victories won, the lessons learned in silence. And I was finally free. I whispered into the night, softly, sincerely. Thank you, Grandpa. I didn't just survive, I became someone who could. Someone who sees clearly, moves wisely, and lives fully. That is the real victory. And in that quiet, reflective moment, I realized I had achieved more than revenge. I had achieved self-transformation. The past was behind me, the lessons etched deep, and the future stretched wide with possibility. I was stronger, wiser, and ready for everything yet to come.